Hey everyone, it's Crystal and this is Vintage Booth Pro. This channel exists to help educate you on the vintage antique booth industry because it's a bit of a mystery to know what people are selling and how much they're selling, how much they're making. So I started this because I was insanely interested when I started my booth, and I'd like to share not only what I sold, but what other people in my community sold. So you are welcome to join our community over on Facebook if you're not already a member. We are 20,000 and growing strong. So crazy that that many people have found us. But please head over and join if you haven't already. And so I asked recently, what did you sell last month over $50? And so this video is just a listing of what people sold over 50, where they got it, how much they bought it for, if they feel like sharing, which I know a lot of thrift stores and Goodwills are watching videos like this to justify increasing their prices. So I understand if you want to share that information, and it's okay if you don't. However, I do want to share what did sell and what type of item it is. And just a reminder that although this is Vintage Booth Pro, you know, my store is vintage and home interiors. So it could be anything from antiques, vintage, to new items, to handcrafted items, which I love seeing upcycled items as well. So anyways, here is the list of what sold over 50.
So first of all, this goat fleet, beautiful print, sold for over $50. Next, I don't know why this picture came up so small, but it is a Bombay table, sold for $69, and she paid $20 for it. This beautiful secretary desk was sold for $168, and she only paid $25 for that. That is beautiful. Next is this refinished washstand, sold in 2 days for $120, found on Facebook Marketplace, located at Two Sisters Dusty Attic in Cassville, Missouri. This blue Blinko pitcher for $50 from my booth at Route 27 Antique Mall in Alexandria, Kentucky. My booth is Ginger Cat Vintage in aisle B17 and C5. This was part of a box deal at an estate sale, so I paid about $3 for it, and they sold it for $50. I sold this parlor table for $134. My booth is the Pink Ribbon Market inside Hawkinsville Antique Mall in Hawkinsville, Georgia. I bought it at a warehouse charity sale and paid a little more than I should have, and we've all been there. Next up, I also sold this gorgeous antique library table that was hard to let go of. I understand that for $425. I purchased it for $130 at an estate sale. So this doll-filled gumball machine I made for $150, antique ish mall, Neosha, Missouri. That is so cool. Let's see. Okay, this antique print and antique frame bought at Restore for $20, sold for $150. Lou's Antique Mall in Danville, Virginia. I'm called the Cowlands Foundry. Sold a few 50 plus items. I'm located at 605 Antiques in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. This two-drawer file box for $130. Same vendor sold a taxidermy rooster for $75. A gazelle for $128. A taxidermy chicken for $60. Those are cool. Okay, this Hager Panther sold for $210. I found it on Facebook Marketplace. My booth is called Two Birds Vintage and is located at Antique City Mall in Canopy, Florida. I probably said that wrong. I'm actually really terrible with city and state names. If you haven't noticed, I do apologize. I sold the locker for $90 and the bookshelf for $150, both less than 3 days after putting them in my booth. My booth is in a fantastic antique mall with high traffic. I feel very blessed. Absolutely. Next up, this antique Hubley cast iron doorstop for $120 at Lone Elm Antiques in Olathe, Kansas. Bought it at the thrift store for $8.50. Wow. My booth is at Vintage Bliss Decor in Beloit, Wisconsin. Bought for $350 and sold for $2,100. Put a new top on it and totally refinished it. That's cool. Oh, they said I had all the drawers, but this is the wrong pick, but you get the idea. Sold a Mother of Perpetual Help painting from the 1880s, Italy. Sold for $1,300, 1.3K. This piece was touched to the original painting and was donated to a church member in Massachusetts. One of my biggest flips to date. Our booth is located in Wisconsin. That's awesome. This vintage hardened buffet, stripped and paint wash, painted black, and more modern hardware. Paid $200, sold for $750. Sold this guy for $165. And I really like the Burger King crown. That's a nice little touch. This sold for $100. The hubs made it and all the material was free. See, that's nice when you have a husband that is crafty like that and helps you with woodwork. Okay, next up. My booth is at Vintage Bliss Decor in Beloit, Wisconsin. Bought this for $600 and sold for $2,900. Sanded it completely and refinished it completely. And someone says, "What is it?" Looks like it was from a boat. And it is actually a grain bin from an old country store. That's pretty cool. So next up, this beautiful cross stitch sold for $54 in Tryon, North Carolina. Picked it up at Goodwill for $3.99. The back was a mess and it was loose in its frame. Took it to Hobby Lobby for new clamps, hooks, wires, and paper backing, all for $3. That's a nice flip there. This one is fun. A mink coat cost $0, belonged to my mother, sold for $195. I'm Little House Vintage at Antiques of Winfield in Illinois. I finally sold my painted china cabinet. Had a ton of interest on Marketplace. I referred them to my booth, Washboard Vintage Sweetwater Market at the Mill, Sweetwater, Tennessee. It's beautiful. This is an oak spindle leg table sold for $90. Bought from Facebook Marketplace for $30. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. My booth is called A Vintage Soul. Got this for $4 at an online auction. Sold for $55 by sharing my booth offerings on Facebook Marketplace. Hen's Nest Nostalgia, Richmond Relics, Richmond, Michigan. My immediate thought was how quickly my kids and cats would ruin that. So I would have to keep that under lock and key. That is beautiful. This carousel horse for $100. We are Birds of a Feather Trading in Jasper, Alabama. This huge needlepoint for $98. Reveal Rustics and Relics in Lula Bee's Antique Mall, Dallas. Found it in a estate sale. Oh, I skipped one. Let me go back. Dickens original oil painting sold for $99. I love that frame too. Next, my high sale in February was this spaghetti lucite hanging lamp. Sold for $149. I bought it for $15.99 at a Goodwill store. My booth is located at Treasure House of the Falls in Ohio. This set of chairs for $160 and the Idaho wooden sign for $60. Oh, I see the Idaho wooden sign, the circular sign. Sold this love seat the day after I put it in my Parsnippity Junk & Co. Vintage Furniture and Home Decor. Booth located in Sullivan, Missouri. Purchased it for $35 at St. Vincent de Paul. This antique vanity sold for $350. Picked up at an estate sale. My booth is Cumming Fair in Cumming, Georgia. I know that place. Sold this chippy cabinet for $135. Paid 20. My booth is Happy Hand Antiques, located in Concord Antiques in Concord, New Hampshire. My booth is in Mandeville, Louisiana. I sold this beautiful set, hand painted from the 1970s. This was given to me as a gift from a dear friend, so it was all profit. Beautiful. This chandelier we got for $10 and sold it for $199. These lamps sold at Renewed Vintage Market in American Fork, Utah, found at Deseret Industries. Beautiful. These sconces sold for $56, found at an estate sale, located at Farmhouse Peddler in Orem, Utah. I love that. All right, this 1950s Willardly lucite purse sold for $98. Bought it on Marketplace as part of a lot. My booth is Second Style Around at Cannery Antique Mall, Monterey, California. Sold this horsehide rocking horse for $120. Located in the Farmhouse Peddler in Orem, Utah. I got this cast iron water pump for $5 and put it in my booth for $99. Almost sold it in the first 5 minutes, but the lady's husband talked her out of it. We don't shop with husbands, we shop alone. A week later, I met this hysterical, nearly deaf military vet who literally started a nearly screaming auction style bargaining with me, and we settled on $65. He was thrilled, and the whole store was cracking up about how it played out. Retro Renegades Vintage Furniture Consignment in Lake Hamilton, Florida. So I really thought that was a lamp, but that is a great story. This sold for $249, located at the Queen of Hearts, Beaufort, Georgia, purchased on the last day of an estate sale for $43. That's beautiful. This Mosser glass sugar cookie owl fairy lamp sold for $120 in Huntington, West Virginia. The beautiful red Fenton hobnail swung vase in the middle, $100, West Virginia. But look at that J&P Coats display cabinet. That's amazing. But awesome sale on the vase. I sold this yellow and gray Formica table for $165. Bought it off Facebook Marketplace for $40. My booth is the Merry Mule at the Leavenworth Antique Mall in Leavenworth, Kansas. Sold this Pyrex turquoise snowflake on white oval divided serving dish for $60. My booth is located in Rebel Antiques and Market in Johnson City, Tennessee. Beautiful. Weird, interesting sell / find. Sold stuffed duck and shadow box from my booth, Nicholas's Big Chance in Kilmarnock, Virginia. Sold for $148.50. I found the item on an online auction out of Newport News, Virginia. At this particular booth location, my booth's theme is hunting and fishing, so I figured this would add an interesting touch to it, and you were correct. Another unique sale from February was this Waterford vase, sold in the same place for $111.75. Found it in a estate sale when visiting West Frankfort, Illinois. I sold this marble top sideboard for $250. My booth is the Rabbit's Nest, located in Ginger and Pickles Antiques in Gurley, Alabama. I bought it at $50. Bought it for $50 at half off day at an estate sale. That's gorgeous. So this one is a video, and it did not want to play with my little system I had going on here. So it sold for $499. Finders Keepers booth is located at Retro 66 Vintage Market in Claremore, Oklahoma. So I believe this is a Hoosier cabinet, and it is beautiful. All right. Next, I wanted to include this one, and it was sent to me via email. So we do have an email newsletter. To sign up, just go to vintageboothpro.com/newsletter. And she said in February, I saw this unique VR mail sorter for $74.99 at the Red Bench in Silverton, Oregon, reclaimed by McLean. That is so gorgeous. Next up, sold for $350 at Daisies and Olives in Prairie Grove, Arkansas. Bought for $50 and paint and flipped with new paint, stain, and hardware. Beautiful. This was one set that we sold in February for $119.99. Our booth, Wildflowers, is located in Haines City, Florida at Sisters Junk Teak and Vintage Market. My booth is at Vintage Bliss Decor in Beloit, Wisconsin. Bought this dresser for $50, sold it in 1 hour for $400, painted it with a sprayer, and I always love the black. It is very classic. Painted Skull bought at auction, sold for $245. Booth is Cabin Clutter 406 Antique Market in Bozeman. Bison leather chair and ottoman, $695. Bought at auction for $250. And this is booth Cabin Clutter 406 in the Antique Barn in Bozeman, Montana. A picker bought this old goat card in excellent condition to me. Love when that happens. Sold for $400 in less than 2 weeks. Sold for $145, bought at auction for $35. Located in Cabin Clutter 406, booth at the Antique Market in Bozeman, Montana. Bought this at an auction. Sold it a couple of days after I brought it in for $400. Junco, Port Richey, Florida. Ooh, I don't know why the picture is so small. Sorry about that. Sold this carousel horse wall decor to a lady who is putting it in her baby girl's nursery. Paid $2 and sold it for $55. Located in Miles of Pickens, Crystal City, Missouri. Oh, those are cool. Bought an entire estate. These shares were the first thing I sold minutes after I posted them. $400, Juntco, Port Richey, Florida. Fitton Burmese uranium custard glass ruffled vase with hand-painted rose design, $49.99, Smith and Company Vintage Market, Marietta, Ohio. It was from their great aunt's estate. Griswold number 9 skillet sold for $225, paid $20. Yesteryear Marketplace, Vallejo, California. This large antique Arbuckle's coffee crate, $52.99, Smith and Company Vintage Market, Marietta, Ohio. Parents found in-house they purchased in 1995. It had been used for wood storage, firewood storage. That's a pretty cool story. $795, Junk Co., Port Richey, Florida. That's awesome. 2 wicker chairs, $50 each chair. That is so cool. I have a similar one in my booth right now that I wish would sell. This 3-piece smoking set included the cigarette holder, lighter, and ashtray. I bought it at a yard sale last summer for $10 and sold it for $100. I'm in booth number 21 at Old Wagon Antique Mall in North Glen, Colorado. Also, this Fitz and Floyd Funny Face tissue cover. I found it along with 2 other pieces from this line at a thrift store. I believe I paid $6 for it and it sold for $65. So she sent another picture so you can kind of see the funny face. I've never seen that before. That's super cool. My highest selling item was this pair of candelabras for $245. Purchased them at an estate sale for $53. Located in booth H02 and H03 at the Mercantile Antiques and Uniques in Altamont Springs, Florida. Sold this 1930s quilt for $75. Antiquish Mall in Neosho, Missouri. Sold this snake crate for $65 in Joplin, Missouri, Southside Antiques. Oh my goodness. I sold this Crone Siamese cat TV lamp for $160 inside my booth, Serendipity, at American Classics Marketplace, Colorado Springs. I found it about 6 months ago, along with another one at a local estate sale. Cool. Sold two Haywood Wakefield chairs for $187.50, bought for $10 each, found at an online auction. I'm located at the Medina Antique Mall, Medina, Ohio, booth 96. You had a great eye there. This black swan planter sold for $129, bought at a thrift store for $9, located at Queen of Hearts in Buford, Georgia. Ginger jar sold for $129, bought at a thrift store for $7, located at Queen of Hearts in Buford, Georgia. Austin sculpture Woman with Deer, La Pointe, 1981, sold for $125 at the Mercantile Antiques and Uniques in Altamont Springs, Florida. Oh, I missed a picture. I'll see if I can come back and insert that one in. This World War II single core tool trunk, bought it for $35 out of a dusty old barn, the best kind. Took an offer of $150 when I was ready to move it out of the booth. Located at Jolly's Antiques in Chiefland, Florida. Also sold this pair of leather fringe boots for $95. I paid $5 for them at a yard sale, which is crazy. Sold this lamp for $140 from my booth in Helena, Montana at Bella Peacock Vintage, Veranda Gift and Antiquary. Found by a customer from out of town, only seen because it was in a Facebook post by the store. Don't sleep on social media. I paid $20 for the lamp originally. This is cool. Sold these Weird Al wall plaques with fake fur. I had a pair for $80. I wanted to keep them, found at Goodwill. People hate on Goodwill, but there are treasures to be found at Goodwill. My booth is in Memphis, Tennessee. I do agree with that. As much as I hate Goodwill, I still force myself to go. And don't you know, Weird always sells. Look at that. The L.E. Smith Green Daisy and Button Canister set sold for $90. Purchased at an auction for $10. Also sold a three-piece Pyrex Bluebell set for $140. Was pieced together at one time, total cost $48. A large framed French travel poster for $75, purchased at an auction for $17, and an opalescent swirl cranberry rose bowl for $65. Purchased at an auction for $33. My booths are in Adamstown, PA. Sold two tables, the round one for $75, purchased for $30 at an auction, and this one, the drop leaf, for $140 given to her. So all profit on that table. So this pine bench for $98.99. That is awesome. Antique Pizel maker for $67.50. My booth is in Bedford Street Antiques in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. I acquired it sort of for free when I was buying an antique lamp from someone on Facebook Marketplace. I told them I was starting a booth and they brought this along and gave it to me with the lamp. That is so great. And that is the advice I always hear when you're picking something up. Ask, what else do you have? The larger knife in this picture sold for $75, and that is at Oak Street Vintage Mall and Gifts. The vintage Structo wind-up truck sold for $75, and this is also at Oak Street Vintage Mall and Gifts. Okay, this beautiful lamp sold for $395. Tuck and Fin booth inside of Four Sisters Antiques and Vintage in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And just to back up, I did miss one that someone posted in the comments on my Facebook post. And this says, I also sold on the same day, March 2nd, The Beatles' Magical Mystery Tour vinyl LP 1967 with original booklet for $69 at the Mercant Antiques and Uniques in Altamont Springs, Florida.
And that's everything. So if you'd like to be included on next month's video like this, be sure to hop over to the community. And if you like watching videos like this, stay tuned. I will list some at the playlist here of what others sold in the community. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.